Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you as always, and happy to be here with the guys. Tariq, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Can't wait for the HBCU Classic in Rochester at the Rochester Sports Complex. It'll be Central State taking on Lane College because I can't watch my Giants play football.
Oh, I thought he was going to finish that sentence with, I can't wait for the football offseason to begin after what happened.
It already has begun for my New York Giants.
It's going to be beginning for Brian Dable very soon.
Got anything you want to promote?
Just me, baby. Just doing awesome things over here. Rocking the Keon Coleman jersey. Keon effing Coleman, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe Dawkins wasn't overhyping the situation.
I mean,
the magic of that win is partly because of him.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You guys are all saying words. I don't hear a thing. Because I am still trying to comprehend what I witnessed in that stadium on Sunday.
You can't.
Well, start it off.
It doesn't make mathematical sense. There is no mathematical sense. They scored 16 points in 4.5 minutes.
Less than 1% chance you would win.
Yes.
I love that 3 and 2,300 number. The NFL teams that were behind by 15 or more points, 4 minutes left in the game, over, I think, the last 5 years, something like 3 and 2,300.
By the way, are they the only team to be down 15 with 4 minutes left to win in regulation? Now, I'm going to say something controversial, and I know that the old heads that watch this show are going to be a little upset with me, but I was at that greatest comeback game.
I'm already upset.
Okay, well,
here it comes. Here it comes,
I
folks.
would argue that what the Bills did in that game on Sunday night is more impressive than what they did against the Houston Oilers in the greatest comeback wildcard playoff game. Now, the stakes were higher in the playoff game, obviously. It's a legendary memory. But the Bills not only had an entire half to score, to make up the 35 points they were down, whatever, it took overtime for them to win. The Bills won that game down 15 points with 4.5 minutes left in regulation. Josh Allen throws a tipped touchdown pass on 4th and 2, 20 yards to Keon Coleman to keep it alive. They didn't onside kick, and they scored 16 points.
And you're throwing a punt in there. There was a kickoff and a punt thrown in there.
Whoa! Derrick Henry, who I would argue is the strongest running back in the history of the NFL, was stood up by Ed Oliver himself while he Mike Tyson multiple times hooked a ball out of his hand. Nothing that I saw made sense. And I'll be honest with you, I'm horrified that in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to open my eyes and it'll be Monday morning and the Bills were beat by 40 and Derrick Henry had 2 more 80-yard touchdowns. It doesn't make sense, guys.
There's no way to explain it. And I don't know about putting it up there with the Oiler game. But in the form of an excitement, in a season in which this is the last at your current stadium, and the possibility of you guys going on this run this season, this is just another chapter in this story of the season.
You guys.
And listen, we'll look back on this game 1 of the NFL season between the Bills and the Ravens as one of those big chapters.
That's the only thing that really makes the Oiler game. When you look at all the events that took place at that stadium since 1973, and everyone puts the Houston Oiler game at number 1, the fact that it was a playoff game.
I agree with you, right? And the fact it was blacked out, so nobody got to see it on TV. I am not arguing.
In the Bronx, they had a game on that day, and I couldn't believe I was sitting there watching that comeback. And when I got to Brockport in college, they said, you couldn't have seen it. I'm like, they had it on in the Bronx in New York City.
He threw for more yards in the fourth quarter, 251 yards, than 21 NFL quarterbacks threw for in an entire 4 quarters on Sunday. He threw for more yards in the fourth quarter than Lamar Jackson did the entire game. It was the greatest night of my life. Short of my wedding and the birth of my children.
Now he's thinking of a couple of things. Where do I have to protect the rest of my life?
It's those 3. What marriage, children, that game.
The only thing that'll eclipse is the Super Bowl win. Whenever the Bills win the Super Bowl, that will be the greatest night of your life.
So anybody discussing this game and trying to find something negative about it fell back on the whole thing that the Bills are too Josh Allen reliant. But which I have an issue only because they spent the whole first half trying to do anything but little screens or running the ball. They were doing everything, trying everything else. And it wasn't until really they needed to say, go ahead, see if you can win it.
And they did. And we've been down this road before where the story is Josh Allen. If you don't win that game, unless you get a fumble by Henry, unless you get that, play by Coleman, unless you get Josh Allen doing what he does, there are some concerns with this team going on, one of which is the defense and allowing 40 points.
Look, I mean, they lost, 35-10 something like that, week 4 of last season. Derrick Henry in the regular season is a monster. And the Bills, even when he was in Tennessee, had a really hard time stopping Derrick Henry. For whatever reason, when Sean McDermott sees a team for the second time in a regular season, the defense is buttoned up. You're missing your top 2 corners on the right side. You had a rookie 6th-round pick starting there. You got safety issues. You had one of your rotational defensive tackles blow an Achilles right before the season starts. I mean, you're still trying to find your footing. I mean, I'm not worried.
Yeah, there's some things still to play with here.
The chapter between Allen and Jackson is just unbelievably written now.
It's awesome.
It makes you want to see the next time these two teams meet, and I believe they will meet again in the playoffs.
This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking more Buffalo Bills with Greg Connors next. Just passing through. Life lessons from notable Rochesterians. People you may think you know. Don Elhart, Maggie Brooks, John Dady, and Stacy Pension. J. Mack and Soccer Sam, Fred Costello, and Jake Zembeck. Along with 21 more. How they all got from there to here. It's a new book by Bill Pucko. Available for $12 postpaid only from rocksportsnow.com. Try it, and thank you.
Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Connors Ferris, your trusted and dedicated workers' comp attorneys and proud sponsor of Buffalo Bills Training Camp.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. We got another Buffalo Bills segment for you. This one brought to you by Connors Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Greg is here. Greg, we just gushed all over the team in the first segment. I guess I got to give you a shot.
Well, my cardiologist, I think, probably is most beneficial from that win because I had to see him on Monday, Tuesday, and this morning. I mean, it's just one of those things that when Josh is at the helm, you just got to believe that he's going to do everything he can. But the key to that game, and everybody's talked about and everybody knows, was the defense stepping up and Ed Oliver playing like Superman.
Alrighty, so we got the game 2 to consider now. So they're playing at the New York Jets. How does that outcome, the Baltimore outcome, affect the way you view this game?
It really doesn't impact me in the sense that when the Bills travel to New York, it's always a tough game for them, and the Jets always get up for this game. It's a conference game. For me, I look at it as that Josh is going to do what he does in their offense. Hopefully it'll be clicking. I think Brady learned his lesson about how to use the team a little bit better after that fourth quarter success and stay away from what he did in the first 3 quarters. But I think the Bills win. I don't think they cover 6.5 points, so I'm taking the Jets plus 6.5.
6.5 is a funny line because it opened at 7.5, and I would have taken the Jets at 7.5, but I think it's right at 7, so I'm going to play Buffalo giving 6.5.
The only reason I worry about this is because there's something with the Bills and the Jets at the Jets that just makes me a little bit nervous about that. Of course, Fields is not Jackson, and of course, Henry isn't Bryce Hall, but they played extremely well last week. I mean, I just knowing the tradition of this, I have to go with Greg on this one. I think the Bills will win the game, but there's something about that Jets offense. They played extremely well and expired against Pittsburgh. They almost came away with a win, so I think they'll play the Bills tough again this week.
Do Giants fans have to hate the Jets?
I don't hate the Jets. I just want to win a game before the Jets. So if that makes sense.
Good luck.
So
What do you got?
Thanks.
I'm a historical guy. Last year, the Bills opened the season at home against Arizona, won a very similar game, not with that much drama, but had to come raging all the way back with Josh Allen. The next week, we were worried about a divisional game against Miami. The Bills went and blew out the Dolphins to leave all questions answered. I think a similar thing happens. I like the Bills' points.
All right, so we're split on the Bills. Pick me a second game.
The Chiefs, 0-1, have the Eagles traveling to Kansas City. The Chiefs are 1.5 dogs in Arrowhead. You are insane if you do not take the Chiefs to cover that point.
If you believe they're a legitimate contender, I think you have to. I'm totally on. That's my game, too.
What are you doing? We're already starting? You're going to ride it out?
The magic. I'm a little bit worried about what the Chicago Bears have put on the field. They have to go to Detroit. Detroit's got to redeem themselves after last week's game. I think they do that in front of that raucous crowd and put themselves right back in the NFC.
And Greg, a second game?
All right, I'm going to go on a limb again here. I think Mike McDaniel actually comes back and Tua shows up. I've got to take the Dolphins because I don't want the Dolphins to come into Buffalo on Thursday in the same week and then have them at 0-2. And if they go 0-2, McDaniel probably gets fired after they lose to the Bills at that Thursday night game.
So they're playing the Patriots, right?
So the Dolphins are playing the Patriots in Miami.
1.5, by the way. That's it. It's
Point and a half.
1.5. That's how bad the Dolphins are right now.
I will say this. I'm worried about Brian Dable, but I'm more worried about Miami's head coach. I don't know who could get fired first.
You talking about Coach Skateboard? He's gone. He should have been gone at the end of the season.
Coach
Tell me he doesn't look like Coach Skateboard.
He's a nice
cool.
guy. Just
Greg, wrap up the segment for us.
Coming off of that big win on Sunday night, I don't think the Bills have a letdown. I think they actually ride the momentum. I think they are going to play well in New York, and they're just not. They're gonna win. I just don't see them covering. And I really find it really interesting to watch that Miami Patriots game, because we're going to see is Miami as bad as they looked against the Colts, and what are the Patriots looking like going into this week 2?
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Connors and Ferris. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box Trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Pretty new attraction 180 feet below the earth, and a view of Niagara Falls like you've never seen before. Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. I'll take you here to the tunnel. Look for the Getaway Guy on Facebook and YouTube.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here, Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills whole show so far, so we might as well keep it up. Like it or not, the fan ban on the whole DeAndre Hopkins push and shove thing with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. You can't have that. You can't have that, right? I mean, what's great about the NFL, especially when your seats are down low, is the game comes to you. The kid has a once-in-a-million opportunity shoving these professional athletes in the head. I have a solution.
Don't give kids beer.
Okay, that's one. Second solution.
You're on board with that?
I don't know.
No, don't give kids beer.
Don't give it.
Do not give kids beer.
No, you want to stop fans from putting their hands on professional athletes? Here's your solution. If you put your hand on a pro athlete of any of the 4 major sports, after it happens, a whistle blows, you are brought down onto the field, you get a 10-yard head start, and then that athlete gets to chase you down and do whatever the heck he wants.
We'll call it the Rob Ray rule.
Yes, exactly, right? Like Mike Milbury, keep going. Oh, Ty Domi. Like, look, you look at Lamar Jackson on the field amongst football players, he looks like a real skinny, tall guy. You stand next to him as a human being, the dude is massive. He's a monster. And all of them could do horrible, horrible things to you. Every generation should be raised with the video of the Malice in the Palace, right? Because when you're sitting 20 rows up, Ron Artest doesn't look scary. When all 6'8", 280 pounds of him is now squared up to you and you got your dukes up like you need to do something and he drops you like a bad habit, if you touch, they should be able to have free reign.
Like, listen, the kid made a mistake. He's got penalized. He's going to be banned. It is what it is, but you have to have a penalty. I don't know about that penalty.
No, I think it's fair.
Right.
Never happen again. It'll never happen again.
Okay.
I mean, didn't do anything to Jackson. Is that a problem?
I mean, I mean, booing is fine. Saying whatever it is, there's a certain line to it. But I mean, come on, have the kid get tackled by a professional.
Tell me you wouldn't watch it. Tell me if they didn't stop the game.
I didn't say I wouldn't watch it.
There you go.
So, like it or not, maybe understand it or not, fans leaving early from that game against the Ravens.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that's what makes the story even better. No, I get it. Josh Allen was not happy about it and had a few words that, words from Josh Allen are just nice, stern little, don't do that again.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Well, no. But it adds to the story. It adds to like the Oilers story. Everybody left at halftime and all this other great stuff. And of course, it'll lead to my greatest thing, guys who lie. Oh, I was there because I had the ticket. I never left. I didn't leave. No, yes, you did, and I have it on video. So I know
full
well.
The story better.
No, you know what people do. I was there. What does that stadium hold?
72,000.
Let me just tell you this. 200,000 people will say they were at that stadium and saw that live in their seats.
Well, it's the same 200,000 that were at the greatest comeback of all time and never left. Not a single person left their seat.
Let me give you another one quick. Like it or not, Daniel Jones performing well in Indianapolis.
How could it be? How could it be that a head coach who was once named Coach of the Year lets a quarterback go and that quarterback turns out to be the franchise-saving quarterback for the Colts?
Could anything make Dable look worse? That happened.
Oh, that was good. Look at this. The only thing that can make him look worse is if he doesn't start Jackson Dart sooner than he should. Let's put it this way. If he doesn't get out there and save this man's job, he will be out of a job.
That's Like It or Not. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Rochester Press Box, our unfinished businesses. Brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Better roof, better price, better call Greg the Roofer. You save time and money on your roof, your siding, and your windows. You call today, get a free estimate. Financing is available at gregtheroofer.com. Go, Pat.
Welcome to Buffalo, Matt Prater, a guy who was signed 3 days before he kicked a game-winning field goal with an unbelievable comeback against the Ravens. Fun fact, as we speak, Matt Prater, who is now signed to the Bills' main roster, is the second oldest active player in the NFL. But on Sunday night, when he kicked that game-winning field goal, he became the oldest ever player to dress for the Buffalo Bills at 41 years old. And if I remember correctly, he topped off 38-year-old backup quarterback Bill Munson in 1979. It is an unbelievable series of events for Matt Prater. And here's the thing. I wish that Tyler Bass was ready to come back this week. Not because I don't appreciate what Matt Prater did or I don't think he can't continue to be successful, but we got a potential situation over the next few weeks because Tyler Bass is this team's kicker. He's had ups and downs. He's someone that Sean McDermott loves, and you don't want to see a guy lose his job to injury. If he comes back and is ready to go, you have to put him in over Prater. He also has a groin injury, pelvis situation that could flare up at any time. And we're now at the point that if Prater continues to kick well for the Bills and ends up being released, he is going to sign with another team. In fact, there are two NFL teams in week one that already cut their kicker loose. I guess it's a good problem to have right now, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. It's only been week one with the greatest kick Matt Prater ever kicked in the history of him being in a Bills uniform. But as a Bills fan, I have found even after a game like the one on Sunday, I never, ever, ever can relax and be happy about anything.
Sounds like the internet, for crying out loud. Every single time I go to a sporting event, there's always some story of a fan doing something that is a little bit extra. I don't know, maybe a kid seeking an autograph from a famous tennis player, having that autograph snatched from their hands. Or maybe it's the fact you go to a Major League Baseball game and a home run is hit and a guy legitimately catches the ball only to get screamed at by a Philadelphia Karen in order to give the ball back. And then comes the internet on the other side of that. Now, for the Buffalo Bills young man, hey, listen, he's a kid, get over it, it's fine. But for the grown adults that are in these stands with these antics, I will say there needs to be a certain moment in time where you back off of these adults, but you get what you get early. I don't want you to lose your job. I don't want you to be totally threatened on the internet, but I do think you need to be exposed for the heinous acts that you are doing in the stands. Just enjoy the game. My goodness, that's what it's really all about. But the internet doesn't care, and whatever they do to you, I'm already sorry.
Among the most remarkable sports events that I've witnessed in person occurred in 2010, Fenway Park. A journeyman outfielder named Daniel Nava made his major league debut, and he hit a home run in his first at-bat. Not just a home run, a grand slam, and not only in his first at-bat, but off the first pitch he saw for the Boston Red Sox. That happened only one time before. Kevin Kuzmanoff did it for Cleveland in 2006. I was not there for that. The most remarkable string of events that I personally witnessed, I was there for each of the last three Rochester Americans Calder Cup Hockey Championship clinching games. In 1996 at the War Memorial, 1987 in Sherbrooke, Quebec, and in 1983 in Portland, Maine. I have to believe that I'm the only person who can claim that, which brings me to mind a recent claim to fame. A woman that we'll call Teresa was at the Buffalo Bills game on Sunday night and witnessed that remarkable comeback against the Ravens. As a season ticket holder, she was there for all 9 of the Bills' home wins last year and added a 10th by attending the victory in Detroit. That's a 10-0 regular season. She was also present for Josh Allen's playoff perfect game against New England in 2022. She was in Baltimore in a driving rainstorm for Allen's professional debut in 2018. If that's not enough, she was also in Cincinnati 2 years ago for the Damar Hamlin saga, when the Bills safety nearly died for a few seconds on the field due to cardiac arrest. And the game was canceled as a result. That was an NFL first. And to cap it, she was among the fans who did not leave early during the Bills' historic playoff comeback win against Houston, 35-3, coming back from that to win a playoff game. If I were in the Bills' front office, I would make every attempt to make sure that she was at every game we played. That's our Unfinished Business, brought to you by Greg the Roofer. That's our show. So look, do the Bills put themselves in position to keep it 2 kickers?
No, you can't keep 2. Sean McDermott, he values his special teams guys. You can't take
2 kickers. You need to get another guy on defense, for crying out loud.
You available?
No.
And that is our program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.
Wait, do I get a Super Bowl ring? I am available.
You know that Joe uses all this.
Yeah.
That makes the air.
Because the graphic comes in, Classy Wolf comes in and all